Picture this. You've just finished your morning walk, feeling proud for keeping active, when you decide to add a few tried and true exercises you've done for decades. You bend to touch your toes, do a quick set of sit-ups, and maybe lift a pair of dumbbells overhead. Harmless, right? After all, you've seen younger people do them in every gym and fitness video. But here's the truth most trainers won't tell you. What's perfectly safe for a 30-year-old body can be a ticking time bomb for a spine over 60. Your back isn't fragile, but it is different. Discs have less cushioning, ligaments are stiffer, and tiny missteps in movement can cause months of pain, limit your independence, and make you nervous about even simple activities like gardening or picking up groceries. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on 5 common safe exercises that are secretly damaging your back. And I'll show you exactly what to do instead to keep your core strong, your posture upright, and your spine protected for years to come. If you've ever pushed through an exercise only to feel that sharp twinge or lingering ache later, you're not alone, and you're in the right place. Before we dive in, join our community by subscribing and share in the comments which exercise worries you most. Exercise number 1, traditional situps. Let's start with a classic, the traditional floor sit-up. For decades, it's been sold as the ultimate core strengthening move. You lie flat, hook your feet under something, and curl up toward your knees. Sounds harmless, right? After all, it's just using your own body weight. Here's the problem. Traditional sit-ups don't actually target your core in the safest way, especially once you're over 60. Instead of isolating the abdominal muscles, they put a large amount of repetitive pressure on your lower spine. When you curl up, your hip flexor muscles, the ones that attach directly to your lower back, do most of the work. This constant pulling can strain the lumbar discs, which, at this stage of life, are already thinner and less hydrated than they were in your younger years. Imagine bending a dry sponge over and over. It doesn't have the same flexibility it used to, and cracks can appear. In the spine, those cracks take the form of tiny tears or bulges in the disc walls, which can trigger back pain or even radiating nerve discomfort down the legs. I've seen so many seniors in my clinic who thought they were strengthening their core, but ended up with weeks or months of limited mobility because of this one exercise. The good news? You don't need to give up on core strength. Just swap the movement for something gentler but more effective. A safer alternative is the modified dead bug or pelvic tilt. These exercises allow you to engage your abdominal muscles without forcing the spine into that repetitive bending and pulling. Another great option is the plank. And don't worry, you can start with your knees on the ground to keep it easy on your back and shoulders. The goal is not to avoid exercise, it's to move smarter. And speaking of movements that feel healthy but can secretly harm your back, let's talk about one you might be doing in your morning stretch routine. Exercise number 2, toe touches. For many of us, toe touches have been a morning ritual since school days. You stand with your feet together, bend forward at the waist, and try to reach your toes, or the floor, for a good stretch. It feels satisfying in the moment, and you might even think, I'm keeping my hamstrings loose. But here's the hidden risk. This movement places your spine in a fully flexed position while also adding the weight of your upper body, which creates significant compression on the discs in your lower back. For a younger spine, the discs are springy and resilient, but after 60, they've lost some of that cushioning and hydration. This means they can't absorb force as well, making them more vulnerable to injury. Now imagine you're also bouncing during the stretch or pulling with your hands to reach just a bit further. That's when tiny micro tears can occur in the ligaments and disc walls. Over time, this can lead to herniation, nerve irritation, or a lingering ache that makes even sitting uncomfortable. I've had patients tell me, but I've been doing toe touches for 40 years. And my response is always, yes, but your body at 65 isn't the same as it was at 25. The change in tissue resilience is real, and so are the consequences. The safer alternative? Swap standing toe touches for a seated hamstring stretch with a straight spine. Sit on the edge of a sturdy chair, extend one leg forward with your heel on the ground, and gently hinge forward at the hips, not the waist, until you feel a light stretch in the back of your thigh. Keep your back flat and your chest lifted. This protects your spine while still giving your hamstrings the flexibility they need to support your posture and balance. Protecting your back isn't about avoiding all forward bends. It's about learning to hinge from the hips, keep your spine supported, and respect your body's current limits. And next, we'll look at an exercise that seems like a great strength builder but can turn dangerous when the weight is over your head. Exercise number 3. Heavy overhead presses. Lifting a weight above your head seems like one of the most functional, practical exercises you can do. After all, in daily life, we often reach up to put something on a shelf or close an overhead cabinet. But when it comes to the heavy overhead press, especially with dumbbells or a barbell, the risks for your back, particularly after 60, can outweigh the rewards. Here's why. Pressing a heavy load overhead requires perfect shoulder mobility, core stability, and spinal alignment. The moment your shoulders lack full range of motion, or your core isn't braced enough, your lower back starts to arch to compensate. That arching increases the compressive load on the lumbar vertebrae and discs, putting you at risk for strains, disc irritation, or even joint degeneration over time. In a younger, more flexible body, these compensations might go unnoticed. But in a spine that's already lost some of its natural cushioning and has stiffer supporting ligaments, that repeated stress can cause sharp lower back pain or a dull ache that lingers for days. I've seen older adults come in with what they thought was a shoulder problem after overhead pressing, only to find the pain was coming from irritated spinal joints. In many cases, the injury didn't happen all at once. It built up silently over months of repeated stress. So what's the safer route? Swap heavy overhead presses for front raises or lateral raises with light weights to strengthen your shoulders without forcing your spine into a risky position. Another excellent option is the landmine press, where the bar is anchored at one end and pressed at an angle. This takes pressure off the spine while still working your upper body. The goal isn't to avoid lifting entirely. It's to train in a way that builds strength without sacrificing spinal health. And speaking of exercises that can sneakily strain your back, let's move to one that's common in gym warm-ups and functional fitness routines, but is rarely safe for seniors. Exercise number 4, standing twists with weight. At first glance, standing twists with a weight, whether it's a medicine ball, dumbbell, or even a weighted bar, seem like a great way to build core strength. You stand tall, hold the weight in front of you, and rotate your torso side to side. It feels dynamic, it engages your midsection, and it's often promoted as a waist trimmer. But here's the hidden danger. Your spine is designed for stability, not for repeated loaded twisting, especially in the lower back. When you add resistance to a twisting motion, you place shearing forces on the discs, the gel-like cushions between your vertebrae. In a younger spine, those discs are supple and can handle some rotational stress. After 60, they're less hydrated and more prone to tiny tears in the outer layers. Combine that with the fact that many people twist from the waist instead of the upper back and hips, and you've got a recipe for lower back strain or even nerve irritation. It doesn't take a dramatic injury to cause lasting issues. Sometimes it's just a gradual buildup of micro damage that suddenly flares up after a seemingly simple movement. I've had patients tell me, "It only hurt after I put the weight down, but by then, the strain had already occurred. That's how sneaky these injuries can be. A better alternative? Try seated Russian twists without weight. Just clasp your hands together and focus on small, controlled movements led by your upper back and rib cage, not your lower spine. Or swap twisting entirely for anti-rotation exercises like the Pallof press, which train your core to resist rotation, a skill that actually protects your spine during real-life activities. The key here is understanding that not all core exercises are about movement. Sometimes the most protective thing you can do is train your body to stay still under load. And finally, let's talk about one last safe exercise that can be surprisingly hard on a senior's spine, especially for those who want to keep their legs strong. Exercise number 5, full deep squats with heavy weight. Few exercises are as celebrated as the squat. Fitness experts call it the king of lower body strength, and for good reason. It works the glutes, quads, hamstrings, and even the core. But when you combine a full, deep squat with heavy weight, especially after 60, the risk-to-reward ratio changes dramatically. When you drop into a deep squat, where your hips sink below your knees, you place your hips and knees in extreme flexion. That alone can be challenging for aging joints. But the real danger lies in what happens to your lower back under that load. As you descend past a certain point, the natural curve in your lower spine tends to flatten or even round, a phenomenon called butt wink. In younger spines, this may not cause immediate issues, but in older spines with reduced disc cushioning and more fragile joint cartilage, that rounding increases shear and compression forces on the discs. Add heavy weight on your back or shoulders, and those forces multiply. I've seen many older adults experience low back strains or aggravated arthritis not during the lift itself, but hours later, when inflammation sets in from the excessive stress placed on the spine and surrounding tissues. Does this mean squats are off limits? Not at all. But depth and load matter more than ever after 60. A safer alternative is the box squat, where you squat to a sturdy bench or box at a height that keeps your hips above your knees, maintaining spinal alignment throughout. You can also use lighter weights or even just your body weight while focusing on slow, controlled movement. Another option is the goblet squat with a light dumbbell or kettlebell held close to your chest. This encourages an upright posture, which helps protect the lower back. Pair these with proper warm-ups and mobility work, and you'll keep your legs strong without compromising spinal health. If there's one takeaway from today's conversation, it's this. Your spine isn't fragile, it's adaptable. But after 60, it responds best to smart, intentional movements that respect the changes your body has gone through. Traditional sit-ups, toe touches, heavy overhead presses, loaded twists, and deep-weighted squats all have their place in fitness history, but not necessarily in your current chapter. By swapping these risky moves for safer, spine-friendly alternatives, you're not just avoiding injury. You're actively building strength, stability, and confidence that will serve you in every part of life. Every time you choose a movement that supports your spine, you're investing in more years of independence, comfort, and freedom to do the things you love. Knowledge is power, but action is transformation. So take these insights with you into your next workout, and let them be the reason you move with both strength and safety. If this video helped you rethink your workout routine, give it a like so more people can discover these back-saving tips. Subscribe to join our community of active, informed seniors, and share your thoughts in the comments. Here's to moving smarter, safer, and stronger together.